I'm going to read poems from 2013 and 2014. The first is Arc Poetry. The treatise begins again. In politics, there are tactics and modes of organization which must move beyond friendship and whatever we call the communities surrounding our poems in order to have any kind of efficacy. Yet poetry itself must rely utterly on precisely those ties. The poet intersects with and passionately draws on the struggles for life that inhere within the forms of socialist politics. But the poet is not a political category. So what is the measure you measure your life by? How do you give account of it? The sounding of this line within and without your head and your mouth as dialogue, even with the dead. The poem intimately lived through its prosody, its voice, to live up to that truth, for and from and within you. You must change your life so that your poetry changes, and the change in your poetry will itself change your life. Who said this? Never at any point in my life have I needed poetry more, said the person lying in the road on the way from work. Fucked up, wrecked. To exaggerate and amplify life to the pitch of livability. The moment of most intense engagement is also the moment of most intense unhappiness, because seeing the world that could be within the world that is risks amplifying the contradictions to the peak of unbearable promise. What's what in the wasted, blasted earth? The poem as a beacon flashes on, flashes off, hazards a guess. The poem of this moment, written, read, lived. Here we are, hearing or reading this poem. Here, now, here I am, falling off the edge of my seat, or the edges of our collective seats, and onto the floor. Here is the poet bleeding onto the concrete and still explaining why you must not give up on poetry, finishing their sentence even as they bleed. This is what is real to me now. Everything collapses, everything pulls or falls apart. We may not agree, we will not agree, we may violently disagree, but we will test things out, we'll speak and fail and fall and try it all again. I tried to say it, and it multiplied 1,000 ways, and splintered, and crashed, and burned, and picked itself up, and crawled, and ran, and exploded. Arcs and archives, smoke and mirrors and blinding fire will never have any other explanation. Envoy. Let me explain. I missed so many things and went in all the wrong doors. In the story, it ends in a massacre. Fuck you, anatomy is not destiny. I never concentrated in biology. They always say body in the singular. They always gender in the imperative. In the poem, I love the care with which objects are picked to be generous to in the poem. We are so tender to tear, the insides spill out, and it's not disgusting, just a little bit. Infinitive intervention, articulate interview, infinitely pained. The ships waiting to take us away will sink, with joy to block the port, blow up the ship, in the burning heat of day, where heat becomes heart with one letter removed, heart becomes heat, just a little bit. People talk a lot, but this is private. Contrast these rooms with nothing. Say you want luxury for everyone. This is not decadent, even if I wish. The names of musicians, of whoever cares to listen. Music that expresses every human wish, obscurity as value, plain written song. Conflict in one voice, then resolution in the next. Requests, advice, opinions. Oh, I don't know, the whole thing. as if to say, actually brilliant. Yes, mythologies, multitudes, containers, end the world in a glance and fulfill it. No one gets back in, and no one gets to leave. A true account. In the square, when it seems no police would dare to enter there, you might read poems and drink. This is not strategic ecstasy, but some form of actual communion uncannibalized, not riding or sitting, but climbing the fence. And we realized when high that you thought the correct theorists were of my father's generation and not mine, but you have beaten the English Defence League with a stick and with your belt, and that is absolutely correct what you did. I am learning from it. Are also enraged in basic wage labour. It is your flesh that drapes the sandwiches. Actual particles of skin flaking in covering. This is not typology and the period of purification and trial as ritual strengthening test when there were no other people left on the earth. My souls, all 200 of them, bursting themselves out of or taking themselves into me, my free will exposed, and I have skin for brains, and I have soiled myself within myself, but am cleaner in dirt than a white banner. Or it is that my banner is unfurled, painted in red and waved as possible love over the excellent rubbish jamming the traffic of police forces before, as shit bin men, they kicked the bags away, and off runs my heart in fear to be lost without tactics, revisiting the sites of former defeats marked as glory. In any case, there are no poems on the underground, only poets, travelling extensions collapsing on the pavement like reprobate decadent friends would in beautiful idiocy. But whatever, this poem is a complete and true history of the end of the universe, a poem of basic enthusiasm from the eschatological perspective of the death of God. So that's it. There's your book. In the end, God decreated himself, the heavens and the earth swallowing him, the ocean rising absolutely red and in the bleeding heart of hope. You are a revolutionary mystic, but that is okay. I saw no police until there were police vans confusingly deployed all over the place. But who confuses who in this following? I will apply myself to the study of laws not in existence and dedicate myself to their initiation, letting off the weak, unarresting the arrestees, believing even in actual justice when I am so drunk. There was an actual garden climbing up the wall, an earthly delight you want to alight over every area of the life of every man, woman and child within this beautiful dream, having lost the bag with your feelings in it, but finding it again transfigured in the sky, which is enormous, with a ghost sun even become the moon. The dog eating the meat his master has brought will learn to be without such heinous mastery, an image in which I so impossibly believe that no more can I speak, shirtless and shoeless, having dream visions when the window opens at 8 a.m, the mill on the floss that fell on the face, the unrealized heaven of the working class and of class abolition. It is too early, but at least with clarity of vision, we are central to the workings of the universe and run it forever. Oh, fuck all rule if in internalized lie its law smothers us. Breathe the clear air of completely shitty smell. The boy stood on the burning plastic bin. Extreme moral obscurity. I can feel the wings. And one final sequence. This is titled after a Charles Mingus piece, Love is a Dangerous Necessity. Humans, we're all here, but I think we can do better, though we're all tired and exhausted and afraid. Life will be everything, or it will be nothing. The firmament is so vast, it is unbelievable. It contains everything we might try to be and all we cannot be. But oh my face and oh my heart, how can we possibly live when others are dying? They have kidnapped our poets, pledged our hearts to monsters at the front lines of the aristocracy of labour, in the halls of the rich. Bourgeois reactionaries make everything unclean, face it, and it is those with most sophistication who are most simply cruel. They say that everything we believe or believe in is a crime. Mass movements fail and fall into the shards of glass, refracting the rainbow of hope, doubly in covenant, reneging on promise. A reconciliation between earth and sky, the answer to each anguished cry, that basic image of hunger, the point at which any analysis must begin. Poet, be a worker, the leader said, knowing what work you will have to do. What will you choose? Happiness is the demand that no one on earth will ever be born into any of this filth and fuckery again. And yet, each half step more unbearable than the last, we get sick and hungry all the time. Is being alive worse than death in a world where there are worse things than to die? What have we become? As any lullaby draws breath tenderly against death, what will we do in life, listening to the insane litanies of the dead not counted for? What will we do, breaking up language into little numbered bits invented by the patriarchy? The world turns, the wall falls down, the ground falls down, the earth opens up. Language is not private property. Rhyme is everyone's unalienated dead labour. It rises and falls, collapses in parody, the present in the guise of the past, the future's horizon ever diminishing. But through it nonetheless, we will remember the dead and do everything we can to help them win. I sing the body pathetic, the body derempted, the body collective, the body corrected. The function of my words is to memorialize the speech of my comrades and friends, and none of this is provisional. I will try out every position and come to believe the rhetoric I inhabit, not knowing the truth of any of this until I do it, for no one is ever really alone, and love is a dangerous necessity. The hope that everything might turn out well, the crepuscular glow of all that hope, its shining immensity, witnessed barely, but witnessed yet. Later, we will check all these things up in the dictionary of accumulated human wisdom and history, knowing the class basis of everything and the right way to morally be, how to reconcile ourselves to the transience of life, from organism as orgasm to bodily decay. But for now, be as abject or the best you can possibly ever be, knowing that your poem knows or could know more than you, and might yet be infinitely free. And, in spite of everything, join me. Thanks.